Hey guys, good morning. I wanted to record a message really about the how and why of praying for health and abundance and explain why it works and how divine you are. And then I'll record a separate prayer slash meditation to effortlessly receive uh, health in your body as well as abundance in every area of your life, whether it's your relationships, whether it's business, career, um, whether it's uh, really anything you desire, whether it's a vibrant body, joy in your life, love in your relationships, like I said, an abundant career, an exciting life, freedom to live exactly how you want to live. You know, the real you, your heart knows exactly what will make you happy, what the ideal life looks like for you. And so um, true prayer, really all it is getting past any limiting ideas and head knowledge that you have and accessing the spirit of God, the flow, the supernatural. And that's why I love the science behind this, because science is really confirming exactly what the scriptures, the original text in Hebrew and Greek, what they say. It's all about the magnificence of man. It's about the ability of God within man that can create physical life. The fact that two cells can come together and create this wildly magnificent, complex life in itself in a new child. That first covenant, it fades, the lower covenant, the holy place. And taking that same idea and creating from the holiest of holies. If the first covenant was holy and glorious, the second covenant is much more holy and glorious and never fades. That's what the two covenants are talking about the whole time. The magnificence of man to create. And science is just confirming that. And so um, what's really cool is when you learn to do it, we're not asking you to do anything that you're not already doing. True prayer slash meditation, whatever you're going to call it, is just lining up the magnificent gifts that God's already given you. The thinking mind, your brain, the emotional part of you, the body, the entire body, and the creative energy within you that knows how to create. It's already there. So when you line those up, everything starts to work exactly how you want. And things that you used to struggle for happen with ease. Praying, desperate, trying to be healthy in your own efforts, and just experiencing divine health all by itself. And that's why I love the testimonies. Like your natural mind, as we were sharing in the fellowships, let's say you make 100,000 a year. So if you said, "Hey, I want to receive 600,000 this week," your natural mind limits you. It says it can't be done because your head knowledge knows that I make $100,000. It would take me 6 years of work, and then I would have it. But we were sharing you those testimonies where she simply received it, got rid of the analytical mind, opened herself up to the Spirit of God, which is unlimited. Every possibility exists in the limitless Spirit of God. And created the emotion, the energy in the body that of unconditional love, of feeling limitless, of feeling whole, of being in awe and in love with life. When the head knowledge is lined up, the thought, here's I'd like to have X, I'd like to have a vibrant body, I'd like to have this much income, I'd like to have abundance with ease for myself and my family, and enough to give to things I care about, to be a giver. Um, Whatever it is, I'd like to have a vibrant body that can do X. That's exactly all we're doing is you're lining these up. And here's what's fascinating is I'm going to share really the biology of it. And if you love this stuff like I do, yeah, I'd recommend Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural and Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. If you're like, I don't want to care about any of the science, you don't need to know any of this, you can kind of skip this message and go straight to the guided prayer and meditation, figure out what you want, figure out the emotion that you'd have if your goal was already achieved. If you are already living your ideal life, what would it feel like? You'd probably feel peaceful. Certainly you'd feel grateful. You'd be so grateful that your life is so good, that everything's working. You couldn't imagine a better life. That's gratefulness. That's peace. You would feel in love with life. You would feel joy. You would love seeing the people that you love around you and everybody else enjoying your ideal life and living out your goal. So it's really what would you like life to look like? You already know. There's no time and space in the spirit of God. So your ideal life, you already know what it is. That's why you go, if you just follow your heart, what would it look like? Then we put all these limitations. Yeah, but you need this much school. You need this education. You need to have this. You need to. No, no, no. The infinite ability of God. When you line up your logical mind your brain with the energy in your body, your emotions, with the creative energy of God within you, you can create what you want with ease. That's the whole idea of really prayer and meditation. So let's just talk about your divinity first. So think about this. First covenant, holiness. Uh, in pure intimacy, a sperm cell and an egg cell, two cells joined together, the spark of life is created. And somehow those two cells had within it the knowledge to duplicate into 37 trillion cells. The divine creative ability was already in those cells. You didn't figure this out, moms. You received that seed in the garden or your womb where seeds are planted, and all by itself, it knew how to start to create an embryo, to start to create the complex spinal column, all the nerve endings in our body. It knew how to create capillaries and veins and blood vessels. It knew how to create muscle. It knew how to create brains. It knew how to create skin cells and toenails and lips and eyes and nose and a digestive system that we can take an apple and turn it into humanity, where somehow your body is so divinely designed that it can take this apple, process it in 3 4 hours, has turned it into you, a living, breathing container of God. You don't know how to do that, but the creative ability and life energy, the wisdom of God within you knows exactly how to do it. Quite simply, you're divine. So those two cells come together, knows how to replicate and create a body, you, this living, breathing container of God that's 37 trillion cells, which they estimate to be 79 trillion meters of DNA. So fine you can't see it without an electron microscope. There's 79 trillion miles of DNA in you that came from two cells. The sun, to put this in perspective, is 150 million kilometers away. The moon is 384,000 kilometers away. So those two cells, the divinity in you, if you stretched out the DNA, it would go to the sun 530 times. Now, our brain has a hard time figuring that out. This might be uh, a little better because we've seen space capsules go to the moon, etc. So the DNA in you would go to the moon 207,000 times, yet you can't see it without an electron microscope. 80 trillion neurons are firing electrical impulses every second, 1/1000. 80 trillion neurons fired. Estimated that every second we lose 25 million cells. 1/1000. We lost 25 million cells. Same second, 1/1000. Your body knew how to regenerate new skin cells, capillary cells, blood cells, brain cells. Every second, 1/1000, 25 million new cells were created. You didn't do it. You were sleeping, you're eating, you're whatever you're doing. You're the innate intelligence, the divinity of God is in you. You are the container of God. So it's really learning how to tap this divinity in you. In short, you're divine. It's not about the stories you've been talking about, guilt, shame, etc. All of the original texts in Greek and Hebrew we're talking about. If you understand the magnificence of the holy place, the first covenant, which as glorious as it is, it fades. It says the second covenant is taking all the creative energy that you can create life out of and create life within yourselves. It goes from the holy place to the holiest of holies. And you recognize in the holiest of holies in scripture, guys, you don't have to know this, but it's just fascinating to me. It says there's the rod of Aaron that gives life all by itself. And there's the manna from heaven, the life, the spiritual life that you can't see. First bread you can see, it's show bread. She starts to show, and the baby's starting to form and her belly starts to show. That's first covenant, physical creation. If you understand physical creation, and it says up here is the rod of Aaron that buds all by itself. It's the life from heaven, the manna from heaven, the bread. And you also have the prayers of the saints. So it says, if you understand what's released in the first covenant, the prayers of the saints is released here through our thoughts and the creative energy of our heart, the lev, the rod of the, literally is the lamed, the staff of the body is right here. And you have a little gland up here called the pineal, the staff of the brain. It's really fascinating. So you go from physical creation to creating whatever the life you'd like spiritually. It's really fascinating. That's what it's talking about. Now, I love the science behind it because it's just explaining what the original Greek and Hebrew texts have said for years. You're magnificent. Those 80 trillion neurons that are firing per second are not for you just to go make a living, have children, and die someday. It's design life. It's to live from the inside out. In fact, ekkaleo, church, is ekkaleo. Kaleo is it's ecclesia in Greek, how it's translated. They say church. We've made it into this place where you go, this building. Oh, where do you go to church? The texts say this: Epsilon Kappa is from the Hebrew He Kof, the nature. So literally it says you will experience the creative ability of the nature from the inside that has effects on the outside. That's literally technically what church is. So if you got epsilon, it's He. In Hebrew, it says you shall behold what comes from the creative ability of Kappa, the rod of Aaron that buds all by itself. This isn't a man and woman coming together that creates intimacy. This is the rod or the stiffness within yourself that releases the spirit to create from the inside out. Koth literally is the covering or blessing. So this is saying uh, the physical man covers the physical woman, but God himself has intimacy with all anthropos in scripture, not male or female. Every human being on the planet experiences the creative ability of intimacy with the God within themselves, Aaron's rod, that buds all by itself. And you see the nature from the inside out. When you release the thought that carries the creative energy of the body, you will experience and behold what comes from it. Second covenant. It's glorious. It never fades. So anyway, let's talk about this a little bit. Let's um here's Dr. Tara Swart. I've shared this in the past. So neuroscience and a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, et cetera, is covering all this. But Dr. Swart, is an intelligent lady, got a PhD in neuroscience and teaches at MIT Sloan School of Business. She says this: when we set a goal and our heart and mind are aligned, what actually happens scientifically is that in our intuition, knowledge beyond head knowledge, we'll teach you how to get into that, our deepest emotions, what you feel, and our rational thinking, what your prayer goal is, what your ideal life would look like, line up working in harmony rather than in conflict. It's almost impossible to reach your goals when we are out of sync. So you don't need to have blind faith when you actually know how it works. It gives you confidence you can actually manifest your goal to do it. Now, she says something important here. It's almost impossible to reach our goals when we are out of sync. If you read Becoming Supernatural or Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, it literally talks about being out of sync. If you if you uh, if you um, uh, if you understand this, they're all trying to say the same thing. Whether it's yoga, whether it's all these things, they're all trying to get to the same thing. Here's all they're doing. They're going, most of the time people are praying, they're praying with head knowledge only, but the emotions in their body are far from what they'd like to experience. So they're using 5% of their rational mind, their thinking mind, this, which is only 5%. Subconscious mind is 95%. It carries all, anytime you have an experience or you've experienced something or had a thought, the body releases a chemical to make you feel the same way you've thought. And if you do that long enough, it becomes your habit, becomes your personality, where you're thinking, feeling, thinking. So your body knows, hey, I'm angry, I'm guilty, I'm dirty, I'm depressed. Money doesn't grow on trees. It takes this long to make this much money. You could never have a successful business. You could never do X. I'd never have a relationship again because I don't want to be hurt. Your body has memorized certain emotions. So you can, when she says it's impossible to reach your goals when your mind and body are out of sync, that's how most Christian prayer is. So they're doing something like this. They can use 5% of their conscious mind going, I'm healed, I'm healed, I'm healed. I'm abundant, I'm abundant, I'm abundant. Please come into agreement with me and agree with me. Please see this with me. See this end result with me. Great. They're using 5% of their conscious mind. Key. This is key. Your body, the subconscious mind, which is 95% of the mind, 5,000 times more powerful than thought itself, guys. So think about a salary, multiply it by 5,000. Think about you trying to do all the effort in your business by yourself, or as you could utilize the creative energy of God within you and have 5,000 times more success. One's better. One's faster. One's God itself. One's you trying to do it without the power of the creative ability of God in yourself. So your body will only accept a thought or a prayer equal to its emotional state. Say it this way. If you're thinking, I'm healed, I'm healed, I'm healed, but what I'm feeling inside is I'm angry, I'm worried, I'm anxious. I don't know how this will work. I don't think I have enough faith. All these things is working against it. That thought literally never gets into the subconscious mind past your brainstem. So people pray and they get frustrated because they've been praying, 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 no effort. True prayer and meditation is learning how to simply breathe, where you place your attention. It'll turn off the logical mind that says it takes this long to make this much money. You've been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. You can't be whole. If you eat this, it'll cause this. It turns off all the logic and things, the head knowledge that you've learned, and actually stimulates the pituitary or the pineal gland. When that's stimulated, guys, Christians would say it like this: you have access straight from the Spirit and God itself. You have access to infinite consciousness, all knowingness. You're not limited to what you learned in school. You're not limited to past experiences. Every possibility is there. That's your intuition. That's tapping into the Spirit of God. That's all knowingness. And everything's there, guys. That's how every invention has ever been invented. When Edison learned to harness this creative ability of electricity, he didn't study about it. He learned it from all knowingness, which was beyond physical senses. Whether you take Einstein, when he came out with the theory of relativity, guys, he said, there's no footnotes. Hey, by the way, guys, this is how it is. He picked it up from infinite knowingness. It knows everything. There's no question it doesn't know. There's no knowledge it doesn't have. And there's no limits. It doesn't ask you, do you have enough faith? Have you had enough, have you done this right? Have you saved enough money? Have you done none of that? Every possibility exists right now. All right. And at the same time, what it does is it stimulates and releases the love hormone called oxytocin. When we breathe and place our attention correctly, it activates the pineal gland. You have access to all knowingness. Same time, it stimulates the pituitary gland, which stimulates the heart area, and every other gland in your body starts to work perfectly. Your thymus works perfectly. Your thyroid starts to work perfectly. Everything begins in harmony. Now, here's what's cool. All those emotions of fear, anger, worry are put aside. At the same time, oxytocin is released. Your heart swells. You naturally have enough faith. You're not worried about enough faith. You feel unlimited. This happens to you, by the way. You feel unlimited. You feel whole. You feel your heart swelling with love for every human being on the planet. You become generous. You realize there's this infinite flow of abundance, infinite flow of health. Everything's available. You've been given everything. You simply get to enjoy it. Now, what's cool is if you've had a thought, here's what I'd like to experience in prayer, or here's what my ideal life looks like. When you're exploding with limitlessness, when you're exploding with love, when you're exploding with, I feel so happy, I feel so grateful for this magnificent life I've been given. Now, when you have a thought, I think I'd like to experience X. I'd like to experience this much cash flow a month with ease. Your analytical mind says you isn't there saying, oh, that's not realistic, get realistic. Money doesn't grow on trees. That's gone. You're into, hey, I'm tapped directly into the spirit, which says, yeah, that's a possibility. People live that way, or any possibility exists. You can enjoy anything you'd like at this moment, and you have the corresponding emotion of love. This heart area, guys, when it gets activated, it's 5,000 times more powerful. Electromagnetic field of love coming out of your heart is 5,000 times more powerful than you just praying with your head only and worrying, anger, fear, worry. I wonder if I have enough. All you've done, guys, is you've used your natural gifts. You get to breathe. If you go watch Wim Hof, he does deep breathing and inhaling and exhaling, activates that pineal gland, and he can literally tell his body to stay warm. It doesn't make any sense in the rational mind that he was able to climb up Mount Everest above 24,000 feet, the death zone, in shorts. The rational mind says you need this much oxygen, you need the Sherpas to carry this much. If your body's out in below freezing weather for this long with wind chill of this long, you will die. Well, he didn't because he's operating out of the Spirit of God. This is how when you watch the testimonies, where we share here or you go on YouTube and watch Joe Dispenza's, just put in YouTube, Dispenza healing testimonies, Dispenza abundance testimonies. Enjoy those. You'll experience the limitlessness of God. You start to go, huh, these people are normal people. They've just tapped into their divine design, the gifts that you've already been given to shape life exactly how you would want it. That's all they're doing. So they get a thought when they're in this love limitless state. They get a thought and it accepts it. And it brings you right to it because everything's working in harmony. The same creative ability that could create physical life, you take that energy and you put it into the holiest of holies and you create spiritually. You're designed to do this, guys. You don't have to be a master. You don't have to be a yogi. You don't have to have enough faith. You don't have to pray enough, hard enough, this, that, nothing. You're designed to live this way from the inside out, get kaleo. All right. So that being said, let me just talk about kind of the biology and why it works. And then, like I said, I'll create a separate message on just how to do it. None of the, you don't need any of this stuff. But here's how beautiful this is. When you simply, so I would just figure out, hey, what's a goal in life I'd like to achieve? And then ultimately, I would also have, what would my ideal life look like? If you could take a magic wand and design life exactly how you would want it, what does it look like? Second step of this is if you were living your goal, if you already had it right now, if you were living your designed life, your ideal life where everything is perfect, you couldn't imagine a better life, what emotion would you be feeling? I guarantee you wouldn't be feeling anger. You wouldn't be feeling worry. You'd be feeling gratefulness. I'm so grateful for this life I'm living. I couldn't imagine anything better. I'm so grateful for the love of God in me that He would allow me to live this way. You would feel peace. You would feel joy. You would feel the joy of all the loved ones around you, whether it's family or others, enjoying your goal because it's bigger than you. When you experience your ideal life, you can give to others. You can see other people around you enjoying yourself in this ideal life where you have more than enough for everybody. So it really is, what would it look like if I already had my goal and if I was living my ideal life? Get in touch with what that emotion is. I would write those down, guys. All right. Now, here's where it gets fun. None of this is hard. It's designed, you're designed to live this way. It's so simple that your logical mind would go, if this is so simple, how come everybody's not doing it? Guys, they've been doing this for 5,000 years, 7,000 years. They mapped out the human neural system 7,000 years ago. They knew where all of your nervous system ran. They knew where it connected to the brain. How? Divine knowledge. They were picking it up. They're like, this is how humanity is designed. And we've kind of covered it up with religious thinking and limitations, all these different ideas versus accelerating the magnificence of you. Promise you both covenants. That's all the scriptures are talking about. All right. So here's what's happened. You could physically create in intimacy, the pleasure of intimacy. There's nothing hard about it. You didn't understand it. You just simply experienced it. Creates physical life. They go, as glorious as that covenant is, if you can learn, it's the same method up here. In complete pleasure and complete joy, you can design a life that you want to live with ease. It's all out of just enjoying and learning how to release that love hormone of enjoying life exactly how you would like it. All right. So here's what's cool. First, you just breathe heavily. And as you do, you just take your attention from the bottom of your feet up here, meaning in your imagination, you see the energy of God flowing from your feet at each inhale. Exhale deeply down to your feet. All that's doing, guys, is when you do that, your sacrum, the first covenant, the last 5 vertebrae are smoothed together, and it's called the sacrum, where the sacrifice is released. This is not about killing somebody. The sacrifice of the firstborn is our physical sacrifice of intimacy, guys. It's releasing the seed of God of intimacy that knows what to do to create life. So when you breathe heavily, your sacrum, the sacred place, the holy place, actually flexes, and the bottom of your spinal cord, it pushes the spinal fluid all the way up to the holiest of holies, the most sacred place. There's charged energy in there. There's electrons in that spinal fluid. It's a closed system. Some of you guys remember the right-hand rule from science. If you place your right thumb in the direction of the current, you can see the magnetic field. It's actually an inductance field. So what it's doing is it's taking energy from the lower part of the body where you physically create. It's also the part of the body where you store anger, guilt, shame, etc. All that's there, guys, in emotions. It's stored in your body. So you trying to pray, I'm abundant, I'm abundant, I'm abundant. But in your body, you're going, no, you're not. You're angry. You're poor. Your money doesn't grow on trees. You're guilty. You're shameful. Remember, this is what you did. God won't bless you until you get all this right. All that's garbage. What it does is it takes that energy and brings it straight up to the brain. When you breathe heavily and you watch, imagine your breath, the energy of God going all to your head. This in 60 seconds, guys, if you breathe, inhale, exhale deeply, you'll feel tingly. You'll feel this activated. What's really cool is when that spinal fluid goes up your body, it activates the lev, the penis of the mind, the pineal gland, and it secretes these chemicals that activates the pituitary gland. First thing it does is the analytical mind, you worrying, thinking, feeling, etc., shuts down. Says, okay, cool, we're not there. We're in intimacy right now. This is the time to create. This is fun. This is pleasurable. It actually vibrates at a frequency that picks up information beyond our senses. It goes way beyond your head knowledge and impossibilities to information from the all-knowingness, the spirit of God itself. Every answer, every possibility, you're picking it up. So you're not going, it takes this long to make this much money. It takes this long to create a successful business. This life is really hard. It's just going, no, there's a possibility that says everything is perfect and you're enjoying life like nobody's business, operating in the spirit of God. That's a possibility. And it picks that information up. Second thing it does, it activates the pituitary gland, which sends out more chemicals. Here's what it does. It sends out oxytocin to the chest area, the heart area, the lev, the rod of the body, or the release of the secretions of God of the body, the upper man, the holiest of holies. When you release that oxytocin, guys, your heart swells with joy, it swells with love. You feel limitless, you feel abundant. Everything's working. You're generous, you want to give. Everything's working because you're realizing you're in this energy of limitlessness and the unconditional love of God. It actually activates every other gland in your body. When this worrying part of the brain is shut down, that experiences fear, anger, worry, anxiousness, etc. And this thing is exploding with limitlessness, with love. Everything's a possible. I'm in love with people. You're not trying to forgive. You're not worried about the past. You're not worried about the future. You're experiencing unconditional, limitless love where anything you want is easily achieved. You won't have to have faith to heal. Your brain and body will heal by itself. You're designed that way, guys. It knows how to create 25 million new cells perfectly in that. You don't need to figure it out. Second thing is when you're when your body, your head knowledge, that 5% of the conscious mind is working with 95% the emotion, how you feel about the body or how you feel within your body. Now, any thought you have, I'd like to experience this with ease. The subconscious, your heart accepts it as real. And the thought plus the energy of the heart is 5,000 times more powerful than just thinking by itself. Everything starts to happen with ease. That's how cool it is. And so just doing that, breathing and placing attention will get you ready to truly pray and meditate and experience the flow of God versus you trying to make it happen in your own understanding and limited thinking. Like, I don't even see how this would happen. I don't understand how this would work. That would take a miracle. All that's gone. So you simply, when you're in that state, when you've activated that, you've breathed for 60 seconds or so, and you've watched, imagine the energy of God touch the top of your head. Now you're ready. Now think about what you put down as a goal or a prayer you'd like to experience, and then ultimately what your ideal life would look like. Now get in touch with how that feels. What if you already had your goal? What would it feel like? If you already had the money you were looking for, if you were already this successful career, you already had this successful business, if you already had these amazing relationships, if your body was functioning perfectly and you're running on the beach or skiing or surfing or just having a walk holding hands with a loved one, what does that, get in touch with what would that feel like? Allow yourself to feel it. See what it feels like. I promise you it'll be gratefulness. You're so grateful that your prayer has been answered. You're so grateful that you're living your ideal life. It'll feel limitless. You'll feel free. You'll feel abundant. Get in touch with the feeling. Now, rehearse what you've been doing. If you were looking for a healthy body, you'd probably be saying to your loved ones or your spouse, going, I'm so grateful for how good I feel. I've never felt better in my life. So you're rehearsing, you first allow yourself to feel the feeling and then act out or speak or say, just word it out. I feel so great. It feels so wonderful that I've got a divine body. It feels so wonderful that my business is prospering. It feels so wonderful that I have a career that I love. It feels so wonderful. I'm able to take care of my family and all my loved ones. It feels so wonderful that I can help out in so many ways and give to my favorite charities and people. And it feels so wonderful. See yourself acting it out after you've experienced the feeling. And you can just enjoy that as long as you want. And then just bless everything about it. Feel the gratefulness that God's answered your prayer, how good it feels that you already have your ideal life. And then just bless yourself. Just bless yourself. I love myself. I love everything about my life. I love everything about my family. I love everything about humanity. I love my challenges. I love the world I'm living in. I feel in love with life. And if it's during the day, you could just go about your business. If it's night, simply fall off to sleep, feeling the gratefulness that you already have exactly what you'd like to experience. Now that's the how and the why too, guys. Like I said, I'll actually do a prayer and guided meditation that you can use. If you already have a prayer and meditation that's working, fantastic. It's designed to work that way. All we're doing is getting conscious thought, what you'd like to experience with the heart. This is what people miss. Like she said, it says, if you're thinking and your deepest emotions are not in harmony, it's almost impossible. Here's a quote. It's almost impossible to reach our goals when we're out of sync. When you're in sync, everything you used to struggle for starts to happen with ease. I'll leave you with this. You don't have to have enough faith. You don't have to be a yogi. You don't have to be a master. All the things you hear, like, oh, um, this person mastered this guy mastered that, these religious figures. No, this is talking about you, normal people that have this ability. All you're doing is lining up your thought, learning how to breathe and place your attention so your body secretes these chemicals where you feel unlimited, you feel loved, you feel whole, you feel like you could do anything all by itself. That's when you allow yourself to feel the feeling of the prayer as if it was already real, then act out, or who would you be speaking with? Who would you be seeing all the loved ones around you enjoying your goal that's already been fulfilled, seeing all the loved ones around you and other people enjoying your ideal life, that you're able to bless them and enjoy this amazing life you've created. That's it. You just feel the gratefulness. I feel so grateful that I already have this. I feel so grateful that the love of God is already given me this, and all I did was use the creative energy within myself. I love you. That's it.